The Metropolitan Police have announced that their investigation into alleged COVID breaches at Whitehall and in Downing Street during the lockdowns has concluded. The Met has said that in total, detectives have made 126 referrals for fixed penalty notices to the Acro Criminal Records Office for breaches of COVID-19 regulations. The referrals refer to events on 8 separate dates: the 20th of May 2020, the 18th and 19th of June 2020, the 13th of November 2020, the 17th and 18th of December 2020, the 14th of January last year and the 16th of April last year. The Met says that of the referrals, all will result in a fixed penalty notice being issued. It says the breakdown of recipients is that they are 53 men and 73 women, and some people have received more than one fixed penalty notice. The Met says that it will not be referring or releasing or confirming the identity of anyone released in the investigation or providing any further details of its findings, in line with the approach that it has taken from the pandemic. And the Met goes on to say our position from early on in the pandemic was that we would not routinely investigate historic breaches of COVID regulations. This was for two reasons. First, that we could not retrospectively engage and inform those involved that they were breaching the rules, an important step in our policing strategy around COVID, and that secondly, as these were summary-only offences, we did not judge it a proportionate use of officers' time. And the Met goes on to say, we did recognise there might be some exceptions in this approach, and we set out at the time the criteria that would be needed for us to be met to consider a retrospective investigation. And the Met goes on to say those included that there was evidence that those involved should have known that they were breaching the regulations, and what they knew was doing was an offence, where not investigating would significantly undermine the legitimacy of the law, and where there was little ambiguity around the absence of any reasonable defence. So the Met investigation has tied up. We can speak now to our political correspondent, Tamara Cohen, for her reaction there. Tamara, what do you make of this?
Morning, Ian. Well, big news from Westminster about that Partygate investigation, which has really dominated the past few months and at times looked as if it was putting Boris Johnson's premiership in jeopardy. It's concluded. There have been 126 penalty notices issued. As far as we know, the Prime Minister has only got that one from the beginning. We do not know that he's had any more since then, and Downing Street did tell us that we would be told if he had. Of those 126, they cover 8 different events, one being that birthday party that the Prime Minister had with the sing-along. Interestingly, none of the dates, so the 20th of May, which was the event including the email invite to a socially distanced drinks, is included on that list. But we don't believe thus far that the Prime Minister has received a penalty notice over that. Just taking in this very long statement, they tell us how many officers worked on it. They worked through hundreds, 345 documents and over 500 photographs. And they explain in detail, as you were setting out there, why they decided to investigate this breach retrospectively, having not done so before, because they did so in cases where they feel it would significantly undermine the legitimacy of the law not to have done so. So Partygate's concluded. If the Prime Minister only gets one fine, that will put him in a significantly better position regarding his MPs than it would do if he received more than that. But what will now happen is that we will get the Sue Gray report into all the details of what happened at those events, and we'll be waiting for updates from the Cabinet Office about when that will happen.